Hello and welcome to Panther Sports Zone. I'm Josh Crawford.
And I'm Caleb Carter.
Starting off last Friday, the men's and women's club basketball team kicked off their seasons where our own Janarrius Howze was in attendance. Janarrius?
Thanks, Josh. That's right. Last Friday in our own rec center, men's and women's basketball teams took on TSU and Lone Star respectively in nothing short of a nail-biter.
A seat was left empty as the men's and women's basketball club teams geared up for their first games of the season. The women's got off to a rocky start after being down 21-6 in the first 7 minutes of the game. Then going into halftime, they narrowed the deficit down to 9. Then when the second half came into play, the women was able to play great defense and started knocking their shots down as they was able to tie the game and take it into overtime. When overtime came through, the women kept their momentum and won the game 50-47. I was able to get an interview with Coach Ellis on how he felt when his team was down 28-19 in the first half and how they was able to fight out of that deficit.
Chancellor Ellis, PV alumni, 2020, former basketball player, still a basketball player, professional basketball player. We started off bad. I think the nerves of the crowd got to the girls. We was down 21-6 early, couldn't make any shots. But like I told them, it's a long game. You know, once we got the pressure, changed our defense a little bit, we started making shots, and some of our players finally made what they supposed to do. So, rebounding and deflections. We just needed to rebound. They was out rebounding us. Let's get a layup. So I told all the girls, let's just get back and let's hit the glass. Made some adjustments, put Adriana down low, and she was big on the glass for us. Everybody played a part, including our bench. Our bench is really good. You know, we only had 2 practices, so not everybody got a chance to see them yet, but they're really good as well.
Next up is the boys club basketball team when they faced off Lone Star Community College. The men's were off to a great start playing stellar defense, getting to the free throw line with a few and ones, and their shots were falling, which resulted in a first half lead of 33-21. In the second half, Lone Star attempted to come back into the game, but fell short as the boys won the game 63-59. I was very impressed with the boys, especially with Lone Star being the actual team and our boys being the organization that was put together to play basketball, and they was able to win. I also got an interview with Coach Maurice on how they was able to play great defense and secure the win.
Just getting hyper, getting excited. It's the first game. That's all it was. Just straight energy, testosterone. Just going back to the basics, going back to what we know. That's all it was, just basic fundamentals.
And that was all that I witnessed from Friday night's game. I'm Janarrius Howze from PVAMU-TV, and I'm signing out.
Stay tuned for more on the boys and girls basketball teams as well as our other intramural sports around the hill. Back to you, Josh and Caleb.
Thanks, Janarrius, and congratulations to both of our reg sports teams, the men's and the women's. Now we move on to SWAC with the track team. For the first time in 10 years, the men's track and field team has captured the SWAC Indoor Championships. Through 2 days of competitions, the Panthers accumulated 120 points in 17 events, 35 more than their closest competitor in Texas Southern with 85. Southern and Jackson State both tied at third with 70 and finishing 1 less than Bethune-Cookman with 69 to round out the top 5. Distance standout Jamal Wolt was named the SWAC Most Outstanding Track Performer for the 2nd year in a row. Wolt successfully defended his 3,000 and 5,000 crown from last year and placed 3rd in the mile. The Panther was also a part of a record-breaking performance in the DMR. Sophomore Nathan Crawford Wallace was named the SWAC Most Outstanding Field Athlete with 22 points in 3 events. After placing 2nd in the long jump, Crawford Wallace outleaped the field in the triple jump with a jump of 15 feet and 38 inches to take home the gold before settling for the 5th in the high jump. Other standouts from this weekend include Damon Cobbs placing 2nd in the 400 and anchoring the men's 4x4, who took home 1st. Fellow Panther Jonathan Owulu managed to place second in the triple jump, only behind his Crawford Wallace. The Panthers will rest up this week before switching to outdoor this season. Their first meet is scheduled to take place Saturday, March 5th at the Texas Invite in Austin, Texas.
The Lady Panthers are coming off defending their indoor championship. After a decade of dominance by the Alabama State Hornets, the Lady Panthers claimed back-to-back SWAC indoor championships. One of the first events for day 2 of the SWAC indoor championships, the DMR team for the Lady Panthers placed second in the event with a time of 12 minutes and 21 seconds. The Arkansas Pine Bluff transfer, Jada Sabir, had no issue making a first impression for her new team, getting second in both the 200 and the 400. Senior sensation Kasia Roberts once again won the long jump competition, making it 4 years since her time here at PV that she's won that competition. Roberts also finished second overall in the 60-meter dash with a time of 7.47 seconds and placed third in the triple jump competition. One of the members of the DMR, Dina Murphy, managed a second-place finish in the 800. In the pole vault competition, Macy Guy and Jakari Tate finished second and third in the event, respectively. The women's 4x4 finished at the indoor championships with a third-place finish. Next up for the Lady Panthers is the Texas Invite, set for Saturday, March 5th. Caleb, let me ask you a question. You know, not doubting any of our fellow Panthers or anything like that, but was it a surprise to you that both the men and the women took home the SWAC indoor championship?
Well, for the women's, let me say it's a flat-out no. It's not surprising at all because we know that they took the crown last year. So it wasn't really a surprise that the women's track team showed up and showed out at the indoor track meet. For the men, well, I say it was a surprise. I will say that it was a long time coming, right? This is the first time that they won the SWAC championship since 2013. But I don't want to say it's a surprise because you got kids like Jamal Wolt, Nathan Crawford Wallace, right? Some outstanding athletes who provided for PV this year.
I definitely, I'll second that. I feel a very similar way that you feel as well, Caleb. You know, like you said, the women's track team has demonstrated more of a pattern of success. You know, you got girls like Slim that, you know, bouncing up to the FBS ranks and performing well at Oklahoma right now. But, you know, it's, you know, I'll say it is mildly surprising on the men's side because, you know, having watched this track team and developed and, you know, having Worthington, it's a close friend of mine, just having, you know, I guess my ear to the streets per se. This is not a team that, no, I'll be honest, it's not dominant in the sprints. You're talking about the 60 and the you know, the I guess the 100-meter hurdles in indoor or even the 200. So you're looking at my notes, they only had one person placed in any of the sprint events. Talking about Damon Cobbs. So you know, usually in a track and field event, you want to see you get a lot of points from those sprints. That's kind of what, you know, you're known for coming in to the competition. So it was mildly surprising to see us win and collect so many points outside of the sprints. So you know, but you know, it's a congratulations nonetheless to the Panthers.
Right. Now we move to tennis. As the Lady Panthers tennis was successful this weekend. This weekend proved successful for the Lady Panthers tennis team, battling Jackson State to close 4-2 with a 4-2 loss before taking down Bethune-Cookman and Mississippi Valley State with a pair of 7-0 victories. After falling to host JSU, the Lady Panthers picked up their first win in SWAC with this season against BCU. The Lady Panthers swept doubles, played to pick up the first point, with the team of Victoria Castillo and Mahogany Green defeating the Bethune-Cookman players 6-2. Before Ruhu Shahan and Gabriel Leslie posted a 6-0 win over BCU players. During the singles matchup, PVAMU took also 6 points in no particular order, receiving wins from Gabriel Leslie by the score of 7-6, 6-3. Victoria Castillo defeated her opponent by the scores of 6-0, 6-2, and 6-1. Shahan won her match 6-2 and again 6-2, while Claudia Medina picked up her match with the scores of 6-0 and again 6-0. Points 6 and 7 came by default. PVAMU followed that up with another standout today, this time against the Delta Devils, winning all of their matches from a solid 2-1 record at the SWAC Pod 1. Next up for the Lady Panthers, they faced 3-2 University of Louisiana Lafayette the Raging Cajuns this Sunday, February 27th, in a doubleheader action.
Next, we'll go to PV men's basketball, where they made it 3 in a row on a 3-game winning streak, Caleb, against Grambling State, noted rivals.
Right.
At the mediocre 4-5 start in the SWAC for the men's basketball team, they've turned it around, winning 3 games in a row, 3 games in a row, and getting off to a solid 7-5 record in conference play with a 92-84 win over UAPB. An even game for the most of the first half, the Panthers closed on a 22-9 run with less than 6 minutes left to take a 13-point lead into the half. The Panthers continued to pour it on to begin the second half to extend their lead to 24 early in the half. Over the next 10 minutes, the Golden Lions slowly but surely cracked into the Panthers' lead, making it a 77-74 game with just a few minutes left in the game. The trio of Dwayne Cox, Jawan Daniels, and Jeremiah Gambrell scored all 15 points for the Panthers down the stretch to make it 9 straight wins against the Golden Lions. The SWAC Player of the Week, Gambrell, led all scorers with 31 points in the contest. Teammate Cox wasn't too far behind, chipping in 25 in the winning effort.
Now we move to women's basketball, as the Panthers come up just short. A 4-game winning streak for the Lady Panthers came to an end this weekend against the Golden Lions of Arkansas Pine Bluff. A late surge by UAPB, poor shooting performance by the Panthers proved the difference in the game as PV was outscored 22-10 in the fourth quarter, onto a narrow loss 61-66. Guard Diana Rosenthal once again led the Panthers in points with 13 on 6 for 14 shooting from the field. The Panthers look to rebound against the 3-19 Mississippi Valley State tonight. But now we're going to go into the break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the rugby team and the inaugural HBCU Legacy Bowl. Don't go anywhere. Hello, and welcome back to Panther Sports Zone. This week, I had the opportunity to go to the rugby field, and it was an exciting event to say the least. The rugby players pulled off the win, 22-15. More with this video.
Let's continue to do what we've been doing at practice, okay? We have it to beat this team. We can beat this team, and they're not going to come here and beat us. Not today. Not today, okay? Let's go. PV on me. PV on 3. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. PV!
Intensity was the word of the day, and as the players were focusing on the task at hand, our crew was able to learn a little bit more about the game of rugby.
Pretty much, I would best explain it. It's like the OG football mixed with a little bit of soccer and lacrosse, I guess would be the best way I would describe it. There's a little bit more intricacies to it, but that's the best way I would give the basic rundown.
A unique sport, to say the least. And after both teams met at midfield to discuss some do's and don'ts, the game began and was nothing short of a slugfest, with PV coming up with a defensive stop to win 22-15, a moment that brought the crowd to its feet and allowed 8-man Jazz Kemp to be player of the game.
I just feel like it was my turn. I'm a natural leader on the team, so I feel like I have to bring, set the energy, set the tone.
A winning effort that was sure to make everyone in attendance Panther proud. Congratulations again to our rugby team.
Thank you so much, Caleb. Again, excellent work on your part as always.
Thank you.
Like I said, get into the nooks and crannies of this campus, what's really going on in the streets. But next, we'll get into some of the results of the inaugural HBCU Legacy Bowl. This weekend, the inaugural HBCU Legacy Bowl proved a huge success, showcasing the talents and athletic abilities of nearly 100 HBCU football players around the country, who normally would not get such an opportunity. In honor of two iconic HBCU coaches, Coach Eddie Robinson, who holds the third most all-time wins in college football history with 408, and Coach Jack Gaither, who is one of 95 coaches with 200 or more wins with a single program, players were selected to Team Robinson and Team Gaither for this event. Tennessee State quarterback Jeremy Higbottom was named Offensive Most Valuable Player as he helped Team Gaither to a resounding 22-6 win over Team Robinson at Yulman Stadium in New Orleans. Other standouts in the game included linebacker Derek Mayweather out of Florida A&M, who had 6 tackles, defensive lineman Deshaun Dixon for Norfolk State, who had 4 tackles, including 1.5 tackles for loss, and a pass breakup, and Southern wide receiver Marquise McClain, who brought in 7 catches for 84 yards. The only scorer for the Team Robinson was former Prairie View quarterback and my teammate, Jawan Puma Paz, who punched in a touchdown for his team on a QB run late in the third quarter. With Saturday's showcase, hopefully more HBCU athletes will have the opportunity to be selected in the upcoming 2022 NFL Draft.
There you go, Josh. Now we move into baseball, PV baseball, that is. In the first game of the Andre Dawson Classic, the Panthers fell to SWAC newcomer Florida A&M 13-7. The Panthers struck first in the second inning with the runoff of Dominic Cox homer. The Rattlers got to it on the board at the top of the third, scoring 5 runs off of 3 walks, 2 singles, and a steal home to make the score 5-1 in favor of FAMU. The Panthers added a run in the third before scoring 5 more runs in the bottom of the fourth to regain the lead 7-5. The Panthers wouldn't score the rest of the way as the Rattlers rattled off 8 runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning onto a 13-7 win. Day 2 provided for a better day for the Panthers against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Once again, the Panthers struck first, the first time with the 2 runs scored at the top of the second. PV and UPAB traded runs in the second and third before a 4-run outing by the Golden Lions in the bottom of the third allowed them to win 5-3. 2 innings later, UAPB increased their score by 2 in the 5th, down by 3. The Panthers had a monster 7th inning, scoring 4 runs off a Jordan Ginn single and unforced error by the opposition. PV also scored 7 total runs in the 8th and 9th innings for the 15-7 win. On the last game of the Dawson Classic, the Panthers fell to the Jackson State Tigers 11-6. Midway through the contest, PV held a 4-3 lead going into the bottom of the 5th. JSU added 2 runs in the inning to take a 5-4 lead that it would never relinquish. The Tigers added 3 runs into the bottom of the 7th and another 3 in the bottom of the 8th to cement their victory. Next up for the Panthers, they were traveling to Jackson State, Mississippi for the Jackson State tourney from Friday, February 25th to Sunday, February 27th.
Thank you, Caleb. Softball, unfortunately, is getting off to a little bit of a tough track, just like the men's baseball team. One quick shout out to our producer. Jackson State is actually not a place. It's a college, it's not a city, though, so you can't say Jackson State, Mississippi. But I digress. The Lady Panthers' struggles continued early on the season with a 0-4 result against Alabama State, Syracuse, and host Tarleton State. Scoring a combined 5 runs in their first 3 games, the Lady Panthers kicked things in the second gear against Tarleton State in their final game. After a 4-0 start by the Texan Riders, the Lady Panthers scored on a Maya Barnes single and a wild pitch in the 3rd and 4th innings. After a tremendous 5-run inning by Tarleton State in the bottom of the 4th, PV responded with 4 runs at the top of the 5th thanks to a 3-run homer by Jalen Davis and a single by Karina Saneros to score another Lady Panther run. Down 11-6 entering the final inning, the Lady Panthers scored 2 more runs, but it wouldn't be enough to take down the unbeaten Tarleton State. The Lady Panthers will look to rebound against Baylor in a doubleheader next Tuesday, March 1st in Waco, Texas. Coming up, we'll hear from our own segment producer and track and field athlete, scratch that, track and field champion, Worthington Moore. You don't want to miss this interview coming up next.
It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Hello and welcome back to Panther Sports Zone. Joining us, we have our own segment producer and track and field champion, Worthington Moore. Worthington, thank you for joining us. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great to be here. Excited to be here on the Panther Sports Zone. A little bit weird to be in front of the camera, but, you know, I'm glad to be here.
Right. I know you're not used to being in front of the camera, but one place you are used to being on is on that track, right?
Yep.
So, you know, it's the question on everybody's mind. How does it feel to be the SWAC champion for the indoor track?
It feels great. It really does. You know, all the work that you put in, it kind of even starts even before you get on that track for the indoor championships, which were held last week, Thursday and Friday. But it really does. A crazy story about that is that I actually, you know, put together the spreadsheet, kind of like compiling, you know, our numbers and our figures against other schools, and it turned out that that we would win. So there's a picture out there. Whenever our team won the DMR, I had on the SWAC cap, championship cap from last year, and I wore that proudly. And you know, at the end of the day, we got another cap. So it really felt great to be a champion, and you know, outdoor championships, they're coming up and they're going to be here. So obviously the goal is to win another championship, this time on our own turf.
Right.
This man does his research. He knew they were going to win before the meet started.
I don't think y'all heard that.
Exactly. That's difficult, brother.
It's
But let me ask you something, Worthington. You know, me and Caleb discussed during the show today. Obviously, you guys taking the indoor crown, and I posed a question. What was our reaction? You know, it kind of was in his expectation for you guys to take home the crown, both the men and the women's. But I said I was mildly surprised, just for the fact, like I mentioned, you guys don't have, you know, dominant sprinters, and also as well. Oh Lord, I'm blanking out.
You're good.
Also, like I said, this is this is not a team that has a demonstrated, you know, winning pattern. You're not coming off, you know, back-to-back indoor championships.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what were your expectations going into the indoor season?
My expectations just on individual. I'll speak on an individual and a team level. On an individual level, you always want to show up for your team. If you're a person that is expected to score and you know, put up points, my number one thing is to do your job and to do what's expected out of you. So last year in the cross country, I finished second behind my teammate Jamal Wote, and so going into this indoor season, my expectations for myself were pretty high, that I should be one of the top guys to score in any of the distance events. So that's the 3K, that's a 5K, that's a mile. So those were my expectations. Can you repeat your just last portion?
No, you're good. Just like, what was your expectations going into the, you know, the indoor season? Were you expecting? Was it like going to be like a championship bust mindset, or was it more of a, you know, we got a young group, we need to kind of build towards something?
Oh no. So an interesting thing about that is that last indoor season, yes, we lost by to Alabama State by more than 30+ points, but in that defeat, there's a few key things that we're kind of missing. We were missing a few of our multi guys. Those are people that do the hep-tap on multiple events over multiple days. We were missing a few guys. Some people were injured, and so that's really what kept us from doing what we need to do. And then also for this indoor season, last year we had 7 teams overall compete in indoor. This time around we had 12 teams. So you're going from 7 teams to 12 teams. So the point spread between all of them is a little bit more spread out. So if you want to win as a team, you gotta not only have like certain events that you specialize in and that you're good in, but you have to make sure that other teams that they don't do as well in those events. So going in, last year, like Texas Southern got second. I'm not gonna speak onto that, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. So you know, our expectations for each and every season, each and every year, is to obviously go out and obviously win. And so that's what we did. Going to come outdoor, and we're going to do the same thing.
Right. Now, we talk about expectations, and then we talk about how you was able to predict, right, on the spreadsheet that PV would probably come out on top. But one thing that that was probably, you know, not even in the realm of comprehension at that time was a record-breaking DMR performance.
Man.
Right? So you broke it down for us before the show, and I want you to break it down for the people at home, right? What exactly does that mean? And bring some, you know, some gravitas to that subject.
Yep, I will do my best. So to the viewers at home, the distance medley, the DMR stands for Distance Medley Relay. It is a relay race consisting of a 1,200-meter leg, a 400-meter leg, an 800-meter leg, followed by the anchor leg. As a distance guy, that is your best and only opportunity to really run a relay race, because we're not fast enough to do the 4x4 or the 4x2 or the 4x1 or anything. It's our only shot. It's our best shot. So it really feels great to be able to have an event like that, to be able to run as a distance guy. And so to be part of that record-breaking performance, it felt really good. Obviously, I'm a little bit hard on myself when it comes to my expectations for myself. And so whenever that day did come around, and I ran my leg, I ran the first leg, which is a 1,200. I ran that. I think I put us in third. So there are two other teams that were ahead of us. It was Jackson, and it was actually three teams. It was Jackson, it was Southern, and another guy from Bethune-Cookman. They were ahead of me. So I kind of felt a little bit hard on myself that I didn't put my team in the right position. But then, you know, the 400 leg came up. That was Ethan Phillips. And then 800 leg came up. That was Simon Shai. But really, all it came down to was Jamal. I cannot sing enough praises of this man because he really did his thing. So anchor leg, he comes in. We're in second place, maybe by a second or two to Texas Southern. And he does something incredible. He runs a time of 4:12. Now, to really just break it to the people at home, what I ran for my leg of the 1,200 was I ran a time of 3:10. Jamal, for his split in the 1,600, he ran a time of 4:12. For those who want to do the math at home, he basically ran the same pace as I did, but ran an extra 400 or an extra lap, which is just incredible.
Wow.
So he really put it. He put the team on his back.
That's something.
And he really carried us to that record-breaking performance, because no matter what you do, especially in the DMR, it all comes down to that last leg of any relay, but especially in the DMR, he put the team on his back, ran an incredibly fast time, and that's how we got the record.
You mentioned, like you said, you're very hard on yourself, and
yes.
I can attest to that, being your friend and somebody that works with you. You're one of the most, not only one of the most hardworking guys, but one of the most humble as well.
Right.
So it's something that I definitely want to explore with you. Not only are you a SWAC indoor champion, now you're a SWAC record holder.
Yep.
So with kind of similar to how we talk about some of the football guys interviews, something like the PV to professional pipeline, where we have a former Olympian here in the PV ranks, referring to Ms. Bookman. Do you? I know you talked a little bit to me about it off camera. I hope you change your answer a little bit. But what do you feel about your Olympic aspirations, especially considering, like I said, it has been done here at PV?
That is right. It has been done here at PV. During the summer, I actually got to interview Miss Bookman, Dianca Bookman. So she went to the U.S. Olympic trials, made it to the finals of the 400-meter hurdles. Unfortunately, was not able to qualify for the top three because the women's 400-meter hurdles, that is an especially difficult race, especially to qualify on the for the U.S. on the Olympic side of things. But she did make it to the finals, which is obviously the first step of hopefully many on her way to becoming an Olympian one day. For myself, I'll be honest, you kind of know as an athlete where you kind of stand and where you can improve. That's not to say that everything is like set in stone and that, maybe within the next few years, maybe I'll, somehow get, a lot better. But I think that it's pretty much already set in stone for a person like me. So I don't necessarily have any Olympic aspirations or anything like that. I think that ship maybe sailed back in high school. But for anyone out there that is in high school or middle school or anything like that, maybe they're in elementary school, it's good to have those aspirations. It's good to have those goals, to have something that you can work off of and achieve. And just know that if you want to achieve something like that, it starts out young, and you just have to keep on working that, and hopefully maybe one day you'll achieve that.
Well, Worthington, you just said a mouthful right there, and we once again appreciate you for getting in front of the camera this time, right?
Thank you.
A little bit of change of pace. And congratulations again to the men's and women's SWAC Indoor Championship teams.
Thank you.
And that is it for Panther Sports Zone. Make sure you tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 p.m. Once again, I'm Caleb Carter.
And I'm Josh Crawford.
We're signing out.